go.
All right.
And officially, here we go. Episode 65. That's a 6 and a 5. We made it 65. No laugh track, Acme's podcast. This is Justin Severson. Thank you to Circle of Heat for letting us play their music at the beginning of the show there. My guest this week, we just figured out he must have been in town like the week before I started this podcast in 2012.
65 podcasts ago.
That's correct. And here he is, Chris Porter.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad to be the 65th. I believe that's the titanium anniversary.
I should have brought a gift. Or you should have brought a gift.
I should have brought a gift.
You should have brought a gift. What the hell's my gift?
And I feel like I did with my presents and
that's true.
And my Royals gear.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I have a lot of it.
I know. I had I used to have a Royals hat.
Yeah, was it on clearance or something?
Let's see. When they won the World Series?
1985.
85.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like in elementary school.
We all were.
And I started a thing only because I got that hat somehow. That I was going to get the World Series champs hats.
Oh, nice.
Like every year. I think it went like 3 years and then I stopped.
And then the Yankees won, and you're like, I can't do it.
Fuck the Yankees. Exactly.
I can't buy Yankees anything.
But I did have a Royals hat.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a real fan, you'd have a Royals hat from 2004.
Is that what yours is?
No, it's just that was the depth of our terribleness. Those were the dark years.
And the star on the team back then would have been
Mike Sweeney.
Mike Sweeney.
It was Mike Sweeney and 8 Hispanic dudes that you never heard of. And that would all, like, you could show up on Tuesday and it would be a group of them and Mike Sweeney. And then on Wednesday, it would be another group of Hispanic gentlemen and Mike Sweeney. It was just like, I think it was.
He never even got to know him?
I think it was whoever wasn't working at the high-end Mexican restaurant. Got to play for the Royals in 05, so.
I believe that. I was there, and I went to Kauffman Stadium once or twice.
It's a beautiful place.
This was before I know they had a remodel in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's way cooler now, just in the fact that you can walk around. Like, before you couldn't walk around. Like, if you were in left field and wanted to get to right field, you had to go back around home plate and do all that. Well, now it's all connected, and you can go stand by the fountains and things, which is kind of cool.
I remember two things stand out. One, the freaking rednecks that were in the outfield that were the Royals fans.
There's a lot of them.
That had they had brought in their own. And maybe I was jealous because this is back when the Twins played at the Metrodome and you couldn't bring in your own food or beverages or anything. And now I think they're more lenient with that at Target Field.
Yeah, once you take the roof off, you can bring in whatever you want.
The rules change a bit. Yep, you're back
Bottle
to the
rockets.
Back to the origins of baseball. But I remember seeing these rednecks at the Royals game, and each of them had their own bag of chips, like the big $3 bag of chips from the grocery store.
That's lunch.
That they'd probably brought from the night before that they were eating with dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Because the bag's cut in half so you can get to the bottom easier.
Oh, that is hilarious. Like, they're that lazy.
Yes.
Like, they can't even stick their hand in a whole bag.
It was trimmed off.
Oh, man. I bet they wheeze a lot. I bet they just walk and...
And then the other thing, that was one of the years when they were threatening the Twins with contraction. Oh. And Royals fans were harassing me and my buddies with contraction.
Oh, yeah. And
it was like...
Which they probably had to look up what it meant.
Contraption?
Okay, your wife's in pain. She's about to be in labor. Buddy, I think you looked up the wrong definition. You shut up.
Now, I looked your name up, Chris Porter, on the internet.
Yep.
And I'm just going to... You can confirm or deny these allegations against you.
Absolutely.
It says here, and this is direct quotes from the internet, so it's probably true.
Absolutely.
Chris Porter has been arrested numerous times for drugs. The first time happened in the summer of 2001 when Alabama police found small bags of cocaine and marijuana in the car he was driving. He eventually pled guilty to a misdemeanor marijuana charge in 2006. Some other things, November 2010, misdemeanor marijuana charges, and then you had to finish your sentence once the basketball season was over.
Yeah, that would be the basketball player, Chris Porter.
Oh, that's not you.
That's not me.
That's not you.
I'm pretty good about not getting caught with my drugs.
Yeah.
I don't like cocaine. So,
good.
Yeah, I think that's not me.
No, me neither.
I don't even think I've gotten I think any pot charge I've ever had, I've had put, demoted to something. Like I got popped in St. Louis. I got it whittled down to littering, which I don't know how he did that. But
did you toss it and try to?
No, I was
not mine.
I was in a hotel room.
Oh,
I didn't toss anything. No, that's not me. I was starting to get scared there for a second. I was like, do I have warrants?
Fuck, how did he find this?
Yeah, no. So, yeah, that's the thing about being Chris Porter is it's a fairly common name, and a couple of us have done shit. So there's...
This Chris Porter's black, I believe.
Yeah.
You are not black? Confirm that?
I am not black.
Okay.
All the family stuff I've looked up, I'm as Caucasian as they come.
Okay, you didn't catch anything? Okay,
yeah,
okay.
There might be a bit of Native American in my blood, but nothing urban.
You're also not the Chris Porter that had 2 goals and 6 assists last year for the Blues. St.
No,
Louis
I'm
Blues.
not. I'm not. I only had 1 goal and 3 assists for the Maple Leafs.
Oh, okay.
So, but I went under a different name for that. That was just kind of a fantasy thing. I was like, let's see what I can do.
I'd actually heard of the basketball player. I wasn't familiar with the hockey guy, and I love hockey.
Yeah, well, I don't. And someone told, it's very weird to look your name up. There's also, I'm sure we're getting to the other one.
Oh, I didn't even do that one.
Oh, well,
so go ahead.
There is a gay porn star.
Oh,
named
I didn't
Chris
even see
Porter.
that.
Yeah. That's.
I was looking at work. Maybe my computer blocks that out.
Kind of been the bane of my existence. About 5 years ago, a buddy of mine is like, "Hey, have you Googled yourself lately?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
I'm tired of me." And he was like, "I think you should." And sure enough, the basketball player and the hockey player pops up, but then there's a gay porn star named Chris Porter, and it's not even like wholesome 2 guys that love each other gay porn. It's pretty dark stuff, and I haven't seen any of it, but I watched an interview with him. I watched 4 seconds of it because this is how the interview started. Chris Porter, you just got done filming Piss Boy 3. How do you feel? And I was like, I don't want to watch any more of this because I don't want to hear how I feel about getting peed on by some strange dude.
Why are you not playing that at an intro to clubs? Are you kidding me?
Well, I talk about it on stage a little bit.
Oh, you do?
I do. Yeah, I did on the last record, and I still talk about eventually it'll get phased out,
yeah.
But... yeah, that's an interesting problem to have. It's not something that everyone has to deal with. I doubt there's, a lot of, I'm sure there's a couple of girls, I'm sure there's a girl named Tara Patrick or whoever. I don't know porn star names.
Yeah.
But
Tara Patrick, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a legitimate Tara Patrick that has to deal with that. Or
it's like a school principal or something.
Yeah, or a legitimate Jenna Jameson that's like maybe an accountant and fat and heinous. And
that's her Twitter handle, legitimate Jenna Jameson.
Yeah, fat Jenna. Heinous, fucking Jenna Hainison. So I'm sure there are people that have to deal with it, but it's an odd issue. Especially, I'm all for whatever you want to do in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But when it gets into the peeing on each other and things, I don't think you need a camera for that.
No. I certainly don't need to watch it.
No, I don't get people, there's definitely fetish videos of girls peeing and stuff like that, and that's just never something I've ever been into.
I never actually watched that 2 girls, 1 cup past the, about 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah,
line.
you get it.
I was like, no, done,
yeah.
Done, I got it.
Yeah, I don't need to see what else happens.
Nope.
But that's us. We're adults, but there are people that are like, no, I want to see where the deep end is.
Someone actually sent me a video. You remember when the internet was new and we all had email and everybody?
Oh yeah, everyone had a Hotmail account.
Everyone had a Hotmail,
awesome.
And your Hotmail would be full with check out this video. People would always send horrible jokes and dumb videos.
In the years of America Online.
Yes.
Well,
I actually got one of those emails the other day from a good friend of mine. Like, dude, aren't you? I thought you were better than that, man. Haven't we moved on 5, 6, 7 years ago? Anyway, I refused to watch it because the description said The popping of the largest pimple ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no one needs to. Why would you send that?
No.
You send that to people you don't like.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you don't know me, I guess, as well as I thought you did.
No, I don't like things that might make me vomit.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. People pooping off a skateboard. I don't need to see that. That's kind of like why I like the ridiculousness a little more than the Tosh.0. I love Daniel. I think he's super funny.
Yeah.
And I think the jokes on that show are better, but I can't watch people throw up and poop and all that.
Yeah, you're right. There's a little bit more of that.
There's a lot more of that, and I just can't. I mean, there's a lot of people that are way into that. I think it's hilarious, but those people, I guess, haven't thrown up as much as I have. Like, that's the most awful feeling in the world.
They didn't drink as much Captain Morgan as I did in college.
Oh, God damn it. How that stuff is the worst. I mean, it's so good, and then you wake up I've never felt worse than after too much Captain Morgan.
No, I'm not kidding. I mean that, yeah.
Yeah,
what you just said, totally true.
I've laid on, the Chase Suites Hotel in Tampa, Florida, just on the ground praying for death.
Yeah.
Because it's all that sugar, and then it all goes away, and your body's just in complete sugar desert, and you just the worst.
Pretty much the worst, after hangover morning of my life.
I think probably heroin withdrawal is the only thing
I can only imagine,
because I think that's definitely. I'm not saying we know what it's like, but I think we have the idea.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to think so,
of what it's like to not have heroin all of a sudden.
So we were just talking some sports. I'm looking at, you're 6'5", is that right?
Yes, that's true.
How was your sports career?
Brilliant. No. I was lucky enough to go to a small enough high school. They didn't really have a cut program. So I got to
Me too.
Yeah, so I got to play football, and I started my junior year and had fun, and then I got hurt during the summer of my senior year and was disqualified from a lot of things.
Okay.
I got hit in the head with a golf ball.
No shit.
And had to have brain surgery.
Really?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that kind of fucked up my whole life path. It's hilarious because I was in I still have my letters of recommendation. I was trying to get into the Naval ROTC and possibly go to the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
My grades weren't quite good enough, but I had some recommendations. It was a long shot, but yeah, went to play golf with my mom during the summer, and dude bounced one off my forehead and had, spent 2 days in intensive care and 2 days in the hospital. And
holy shit.
They came out and they were like, well, you can't go into the Navy and you can't play football. Have fun your senior year.
Oh, my God.
And so I showed up to senior year with 86 stitches in my face.
Whoa.
And I was the only kid in high school that could wear a hat. And
that was one of the dreams, to be able to wear a hat to school.
I mean, now it's just common, but back in the day we had, it was respect for the building.
Oh God, yeah.
Absolutely.
We couldn't wear shorts at one point. I remember in high school in grade school, at a public school.
Oh wow, no, that we weren't quite there, but yeah, it was no hats in the building.
I found myself a career, in radio, my full-time job.
Yeah,
where I can wear a hat every day.
That's great.
So, but I didn't have to take 86 stitches in my head.
No, it was.
Holy shit, man.
But you know what? Worth it. Got to wear a hat instead. Yeah, and it really kind of put me on my path to be a comic. So I kind of feel like it was the cosmos's way of slapping me across the face and saying, hey. And it obviously worked out. This life's a lot. I mean, had I stayed on the path, I think I would have graduated college 4 months before 9/11.
Yeah.
So I would have just gone straight to war. That's what I would have done. I mean, I would have been in the Navy. I would have been out in the ocean just watching it all go down. But still,
holy shit! Think about it like that, and it's
crazy. It
makes it pretty real. Wow.
So yeah, that'll solidify your faith in a higher power. I mean, I don't want to say God, but I definitely feel like there's a cosmic thing happening.
Some sort of destiny?
Yeah. Or maybe not destiny, but a force outside of ourselves.
Okay.
And so, It's such a weird thing to happen that completely changed the scope of my life and sent me on a path that, when you grow up in Kansas, becoming a comic's like becoming a NASCAR driver. Like, how do you start that?
Yeah.
How do you even begin that path?
Yeah.
And so, it was just this weird, fortuitous series of events that hurt a lot.
Yeah, you don't fill out a job application to be a comic or NASCAR
you have
driver.
to be rejected for a lot of job applications before you start. And
where is that golf ball now? Did you get to keep it?
I don't. I remember my mom yelling at that dude. She went completely primal. Like, she was like a gorilla.
So you were conscious.
Not for like a few seconds. I was out. No one saw. I mean, my mom didn't know because she was on the other side of the hole or course or that.
Sure.
Other side of the hole sounds gross, but that's that's indeed what it was.
Talking about your mom. Come on.
Yeah, and so
she comes around and there you are laid out.
She was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I got hit," and she didn't really get it. And then the dude comes around looking for his ball, and I was like, "I got hit in the head." And, that's to hit into people in any golf situation's very mean and rude.
Yeah.
And so, but I was 17 and bulletproof and invisible, so I was like, I'm fine.
Right,
and then 7 holes later, I can't see straight. And
wow.
So then I decided it would be a good idea to take a nap.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, because when you have a massive head trauma, sleep it off.
Yeah.
And luckily, my mom was smarter than I was, and she's like, "We should take you to the hospital." And that's when they were like, "You're going to die if you don't do this."
Holy shit!
Yeah, well, they didn't exactly. What happened was they came in and they're like, "You got to have this surgery, and if you don't," they're like, "But if you have the surgery, you can't play football." And we're 2 weeks outside before 2-a-days. Mm-hmm. Like, it's all that I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
And I was so in my delirium. Well, they didn't really explain it to me well enough. I was like, well, then we'll just wait till after the season. And then I'll have the surgery then. And they're like, oh, no, you don't understand. If you don't have this surgery, you won't be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And again, in my delirium, I was like, I know I won't be here tomorrow. Why would I stay here if I'm not going to have surgery? And the doctor's like, you will be dead. The blood will suffocate your brain, and you will die. And then, of course, I'm like, well, then why did you even give me the choice?
Yeah.
Why you just fucking I got insurance, wheel me in there. And so yeah, and it was a bigger deal to everybody else. Like, I was so out of it, I just went to sleep and woke up, and I was outside of surgery. And next thing you know, my entire family was sitting outside my hotel room or hospital room.
Yeah.
And they cried a bunch. I didn't really. I guess it was fairly life threatening. I don't know.
It's got to be.
Yeah, I'm sure. But,
They had to cut you pretty wide open. Yeah,
they actually... And this was the best part. This was right when, cable was starting to become huge and, not a luxury. Everyone was starting to have it.
Yeah.
My buddy walks in. He's like, I just saw what they did to you on cable. It was awesome. And he's like, they cut your head and they pulled your face down. And I was like, get the fuck out.
Oh, he was watching some surgery show.
Surgery that was... And they were doing pretty much what they were doing to me.
Oh, what an asshole.
And he was way into that shit and was just like, I saw what they did. It was crazy.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so...
face off.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it was. And... they drill a giant hole in your skull, and
you used to look like Nicolas Cage. Is that
for
true?
For a brief second, I had the Nick Cage thing going, which was better than the John Travolta thing.
No,
I feel like.
Holy shit! So what? How did then from senior year of no sports? What'd you do then? You didn't do it. You didn't join the Navy.
Didn't join the Navy. Well, it was. I just recovered. That's a pretty. I was on some pretty serious drugs for a while.
I bet.
And then, I had to struggle with being 18 and all of a sudden not having a life path. I'd had this plan for years. I mean, it was all set. The next 10 years were kind of planned for me.
Yeah.
Go to college, go into the Navy, finish the Navy, be set. That was kind of the deal. And when all that went away, it was hard. It was like, well, fuck, what now? And Went to college, hated it immediately. I just didn't like it. I was away, it was my first time away, and I thought it was going to be great. And
Where'd you go?
KU.
Yeah.
Beautiful campus, beautiful school. I made the mistake of staying in an apartment.
First year.
My first year, thinking that we'd be the cool guys, but we were also two really introverted dudes. So it was like, you don't meet anyone.
Oh, yeah.
We would go to bars and get wasted in the corner and wonder why no one was talking to us.
Yeah.
And
they thought you were locals.
Yeah, they were just like, what is with these kids? And so, yeah, I didn't really dig it. And then...
Did you finish?
No. Left KU, and then like during that summer started doing comedy.
Okay.
And fell in love with that, and just said I'm going to move back to Kansas City from Lawrence, and I just liked the city better. I didn't like Lawrence.
Yeah.
This the small town kind of thing. I really dug, and my parents had moved from where they were to like deeper into the city, which was cool for me.
Yeah.
And so I got out and started doing comedy and going to JUCO and half-assing that.
Yeah.
And then eventually I started doing, like, comedy was going a lot better than college was. So I left. And Mom and Dad cried. They cried until I was on TV. And then they were like, you're doing okay.
You moved to L.A. or?
I moved to L.A. 8 years later. And got lucky enough to move out, and then 6 months later get on Last Comic Standing.
It was that quick, huh?
It was that quick.
I mean, I saw you. I watched. I think I probably saw every episode that season, so that's how I found.
It was just fortuitous. I mean, it wasn't planned that way. I just moved out there.
God, you were on there a lot, man. On that Last Comic,
yeah,
like in the promos, on like the commercials and everything.
Yeah, it was trippy. It's trippy to go from just a middle act, and then all of a sudden, I remember it was during that. Deal or No Deal. And I was out in LA, and I start getting texts like, just what the fuck, just saw you on TV, what's going on? Because I didn't you can't tell anybody.
Right.
And then, so like you knew it was going to be on 2 hours later. So during, I think the only episode I've ever seen of Deal or No Deal, I watched it, and then, when the commercial came on, I was the first guy up. And it's super weird to just be watching TV and all of a sudden you're like, right. I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then it just got really fucking weird after that.
Yeah.
I mean, the more I was on it, and the more popular it got, it just walking down Sunset Boulevard and having some dude yell out, Willy Wonka.
That's right.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And, not. I used to be able to trip mushrooms and go to bars and stuff and not be bothered. And
fucking success.
I remember it was like a week after the show ended.
Yeah.
And flew back to Kansas City. I just wanted to chill out. It was really intense, and got a room at this hotel and a bunch of mushrooms, and me and my buddies started eating, or all of my buddies started eating them, and then they're like, let's go to the bars. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea. They're like, no, it'll be fine. Everyone will be wasted. They won't know. And I'm like, it's 7 o'clock in the evening. Everyone's not wasted.
Yeah.
Everyone just got off work.
Yeah.
So they talk me into it. We go there, and I'm full bore tripping. And I can hear people just like, I think that's him. That's him. Why is he here? Oh, no. He's from here. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, no. And I look at my buddies like, I got to get out of here. I can't. I go, it's just a matter of time before someone comes up and starts talking to me.
Yeah.
And while you guys understand that I'm fucking out of my mind right now, I can't explain that to some stranger.
No.
And they're like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And finally, it's just too much. I'm like, I'm going back to the room. You guys can hang here. I'm out.
Yeah.
And about that time, I turn around, and sure enough, some dude walks up. He's like, I just want to say how proud we are of you. Blah, 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 blah. And I just went, thank you, and ran. I mean, ran out of the bar. And my buddy, who I've known since I was 12, saw me and just didn't finish this sentence he was saying and followed me.
Okay.
Just took off running.
Yeah.
We ran pretty much all the way back to the hotel, and we just chilled there forever. And I was like, that we'll never do that again.
Never again.
So, yeah, so, It's weird. I mean, especially for a guy who likes to get really fucked up and go on other substances and go to bars and observe. Mm-hmm. It's hard. That was definitely a weird transition to, be the guy that everyone's like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, no. So, yeah. If that guy's listening, sorry I freaked the fuck out. But I was
high, man.
I was on mushrooms.
That is awesome. Was that the first time your parents saw you on TV?
Yeah, well, that was the first time I was on TV.
Anywhere.
Anyway, I mean, other than I think locally they did a show in Kansas City called Cowtown something, and I was on that, but it was on not like the local access, but like the CW station or whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I don't even think I ever saw it, to be absolutely honest with you. I remember filming it, and there was like a live band and stuff. But that was the first time I was on national television. Yeah. So I remember even my dad being like, "That was weird. That was weird just to see you on television."
What does your dad do?
At the time, he was an executive for Fuji Film Processing, which is kind of like being a vice president for the TDK tape company. Like, it's just all things that have gone by the ways. When you're in a technology that's been basically, digital photography went from it's never going to be as good to holy shit, it's way better in like 4 years.
Uh-huh. And holy shit, I can't afford that to, oh my God, there's a phone on everything.
It's super easy, and I don't have to wait 4 days for it to get processed.
There's a camera and everything, yeah.
So, just like in any technology business, it's going to go away. And Fuji and Kodak and all those companies went away.
Yeah.
So, they let him go, and they paid him for a year, and then he's running a church.
Oh, wow.
He's an administrator for the local church, and the benefactors of the church came to him and was like, you're good at turning, because even when Dad got fired, he had one of the few regions that was still turning a profit.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, obviously you're good at turning terrible companies around. Can you do it with our Catholic church? And he's doing his best, and it's a different environment for him. But yeah, he's always been a runner of companies.
Oh, wow. Did you always have unlimited film at home?
I did. And as a matter of fact, when I started working at Best Buy when I was 17. I never had to pay for film. And I remember one of my first days working in the film department, or the video, like TVs, but we also had cameras.
Yeah.
Showing someone, I was like, well, here's where our film is. Holy shit, it's $7. Wow. And they're just like, well, I was like, my dad works for Fuji. I've never paid for this shit in my life. We got a fridge full of it.
Yeah.
And so it was weird to like look at, wow, you guys, man, taking pictures is super expensive.
Right.
And, for us, we're, more film. Just take it.
Yeah, that's yours. Whatever.
You need film? Yeah, come on over. We got
no shit, man. Like now, you don't think twice about taking I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I don't have, snap a billion pictures. So what if, they don't turn out?
And you can see them.
And you can see them
they didn't turn out. With the old cameras, you were just like, click. Well, hope that worked.
I remember being in the car and going to the photo mat.
Yeah.
Dropping it off the little booth.
Getting it back and realize your drunk dad put his thumb over most of the pictures and just being like, son of a bitch. Yeah, no, I had no idea how much film. I would get like the matte finish and all the expensive shit and just be like, had no idea. No idea how much, I was saving. It was just send it to work, and it was hilarious.
That's funny. Do you, going back to your golf ball to the head, do you golf?
Yeah, still golf.
Yeah.
It's a great, especially living in California, it's the greatest sport ever. You can go out there, they give you a little car.
Yeah.
You can smoke weed, get wasted. Mm-hmm. And most comics out there play, and it's not, we don't network because we're comics. We're just sucking at the teat. We can only help each other out so much. But yeah, it's also a great way to find out if you like somebody. Like if you just meet somebody and you're like, we might hang out, get a little bromance on.
Yeah.
You go to the golf course. If I could spend 4 hours hanging out with you, we're probably going to hang out.
Oh, that's a good point.
But there's definitely been times I've gotten on the golf course and I'm just, we're not good. Wow, this is it.
I'm quitting after 9.
This is our, I just got a meeting.
Oh, gotta go.
Oh, man. I need open heart surgery right now.
My pager just went off.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
My buddy still has a pager.
No.
I called his cell. He's a cop. And I called him the other day, and I got his voicemail. He's like, if you need to get a hold of me, try my pager. And I'm like, what?
What?
Who still does that? I mean, who still operate, like, who has a pager service is what I want to know.
And what would they charge for that these days?
Yeah, it's got to be thrown in. It's like, do you have a milkman, too? What the fuck is wrong with you with a pager? And you're a cop. You're not a doctor.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know? Whatever.
It's a fucking problem.
And how's a phone not a pager? They call you, and then you look at it, you say, oh, I need to call them back at that number.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck? I think
I had a pager, and I'm embarrassed to even say that. I had one, like, when I was 18.
Oh, we all did.
Yeah.
We all put the clip on the outside so it looked like we had a pager.
So stupid.
Remember the Flex?
I remember trying to explain it to my parents, like, so you're selling drugs? Like, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know where everyone's got one.
My dad would page me at school. He'd just be, remember when the alphanumerics came out and they could send you like a full-on message?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My dad loved the shit out of that. Yeah. Go to the office, call me.
Oh,
all right.
man.
And I'd have to go upstairs. I'm like, I need to call my dad. Why? He told me to. How'd he do that? Because you weren't supposed to have pagers. I'd just be like, the Force? He told me via the Force.
It's our daily call.
Yeah. I don't know if you know my true. It's Porter, but it used to be Vader. So, sorry.
I saw something online. Are you still in a band?
Yes. I
still doing music?
We still do cover bands. I am in a cover band.
How often do you do that?
About every week I'm in town.
Yeah?
Yeah. They have a,
Are you replaced when you're not there?
Sometimes they have a backup singer.
Yeah.
For me. Although he's kind of bowed out, I think.
So you sing?
I sing and I play guitar. I play the rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's we play like old Allman Brothers and Rolling Stones and like that.
Yeah.
Genre of music, Joe Cocker. And it's fun. We go and we play these gigs for 22 to 25-year-old rich Santa Monica people.
Is that good?
And they love the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Because they just... we really try to play songs you forgot you loved. It's kind of the mantra.
I like that.
Like, we play Zeppelin, but we're not playing a whole lot of love or anything. We'll play, like, Ramble On and Hey, What Can I Do? And, when we played the Stones, we play You Can't Always Get What You Want. Stuff like, and that's a song that everyone knows.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't think that 22-year-olds are going to know that song. And then as soon as I start the little acoustic guitar riff, which is just 2 chords. There's no real really notice like a riff that you're like, oh, that's it.
Right. It's not the one really memorable ones.
Yeah, but as soon as I start it, they're like, I know exactly what song that is. And as soon as I start singing it, it's like a full-on sing-along. And same thing with, we'll do Joe Cocker's version of You Can't Always, or With a Little Help from My Friends.
Oh, I love that.
And they just lose their minds. They'll start putting their arms around people and doing the whole sway thing. And it's great. I mean, it's a great outlet.
Do you finish with that song?
Yeah, we do end with that song.
Of course.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't. How are you supposed to follow that? We might end a set with it if we think everyone's going to leave, like in the middle of the night, for whatever reason. We'll we try to have everyone there when we're doing it.
Oh yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's a great outlet. It's really given me perspective with the whole comedy thing, and it's good to have another outlet. Emotionally, like that's what comics really, I think, love about what we do. Is it for an hour a day, you're basically at the therapist, and so to be able to, but then it becomes more of a job. I mean, like no matter how much you love your job, when you're doing it every day, it becomes a job, a job that you love. Yeah. And then with the music, it really allowed me to be like, oh, I can have this outlet and not have to fly to Evansville, Indiana or whatever. Yeah. So, it kind of gave me that thing where like, okay, well maybe I could get a job in LA and live a normal life and do this music thing on the side. It's like a because I really equate it to it's like my softball team. Like it's just something fun, recreational to do. Although you get laid a lot more playing music than you do playing softball. Yeah, I'm not.
I play softball.
I'm not saying you can't get laid playing softball. I've seen it happen. It's almost happened with me, but it happens a lot more when you have a guitar and sing.
Yeah, I imagine I'd have a hard time. Except that I bring my girlfriend to the games. So
well, then it's easier to get laid.
A lot
I would
easier.
think. Yeah, you're just like, did you see me slide in the third?
I got called out. I struck out this year in softball.
It happens.
I watched one.
Oh, that's the worst.
It is the worst. Like, really? Because everybody's like, you swing the fucking bat, man.
Yeah, well, eat one, asshole.
Yeah. It was not a strike. I stand by that. It was not a strike. Even close. Even close.
They don't have the little apron that they put down behind the plate?
The little apron?
Oh, in L.A.
Oh, where it lands in it or something?
Yeah, they put they have a rubber apron they put behind the plate. If it lands on that, it's a strike, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
And then you just...
and then you can just be like... Look, you can see where the mark is. And I've had a guy call me out, and I'm like, what? And he, points at the mark, and, of course, it's half of it's on the apron. You're like, son of a bitch. Like, come on.
This is why baseball will always be better than softball, because there are no aprons in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, few sports should have an apron. I think, really, NASCAR has an apron of some sort.
Probably, yeah.
To put on I don't know. I don't watch that thing.
I don't either. I don't either. Do you bring your guitar on the road?
No.
No.
I mean, I wish I would have. Like these longer gigs, you kind of wish you would have, but it's hard on the guitar, the flying.
Yeah.
The pressure changes and the temperature changes. And I've just, I used to, but there were too many weeks where it would just sit in the corner and I wouldn't get to it. And yeah, I just cared too much about it.
How do you usually pass your time when you're in towns? Like, how many times before you answer that, how many times have you been to Acme now?
This was 4.
4?
4.
Okay.
Yeah,
always headlining?
Always headlining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I might have done a guest spot here, but I don't think I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, always headlining.
4 times, and you were on stage last night.
I was on stage last. That was great. The winner, they had the big contest.
Yeah,
and the winner.
man, I had my had my last fantasy football draft last night.
How many fantasy football
Just
drafts?
2.
Just
Only
2.
2.
Oh, okay.
So no, I don't get carried away like some guys. No. I did like 3 or 4 a couple times, and I can't do that.
Drives you insane,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's too much. But so I had one last night that I couldn't. It's the one where we actually get together with the guys.
Oh yeah.
And have a few beers, and it's like he's got the big table full of food.
Oh, very nice.
So
yeah,
I really wanted to be here for that. I was going to help judge, and
it was a great judge. I enjoyed hanging out. The judges were a lot of fun. I like judging.
Yeah,
I'm really good at it.
No, I've done it here for the last several years. I think it's fun.
I judge everyone, so I feel like it's
everyone you see everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. So, really, I was in my comfort zone. And
do you remember the winner's name?
Ollie something.
Ollie something. Congrats, Ollie.
Yeah, I could look up on the tweets and look it up. But and it was tight. It was him and this chick Edith were kind of the top 2, and Ollie just had a little better stage presence.
Yeah.
It was really what it came down to. And but all of them were great. A couple of them were obviously intimidated by the situation.
I'm sure.
But the crowd was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I don't know the feature act's name, but he's super funny.
Is it Brian Miller this week?
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's great.
Super funny.
Yeah, he's been on this podcast. He filled it and hosted for me this podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, he's good, very funny guy.
Great guy, really strong material.
Yep.
And enjoyed watching the whole thing, so it was fun. But this club's always great. I mean, It's one of. I'm not just saying it because I'm on the podcast, but it really is one of the greatest clubs in the country.
Oh no, I've heard comics say that on podcasts that aren't based in Minnesota.
Yeah, and
how much they like Acme.
And great clubs cultivate great scenes. I mean, there's some great comics that come out of here.
Oh, for sure.
And not only that, but then you have stand-up records with Dan, and it's just a very promising scene up here in Minneapolis. So, which is great. It's fun to be able to come in and then go to Grumpy's and hang out with a whole local scene, because that just doesn't happen just everywhere. I mean, some places have a scene, but it's nothing like here.
So it sounds like you do know your way around downtown a little bit here.
I've been around. Luckily I have friends like Dan who drive me around and show me to do stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right on. I just remembered you, and then you have some sort of connection to the Gopher football team?
I did.
Not anymore.
No, my cousin Max Shortell played with them last year and the year before.
That's who it was.
And then they kind of fucked him over, so he transferred to Jacksonville State.
Is he playing there this year?
He's playing. As a matter of fact, he got Ohio Valley Conference Newcomer of the Week.
Really?
This week. Yeah, he went 13 for 23 with a couple of touchdowns and brought him back to win the game and stuff. So.
Holy shit, really cool.
Yeah. It's a shame that it didn't work out in Minnesota. Like, he really loved it here. And
did you see him play as a Gopher?
I did see live. Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
I watched him. His big game was his first game when he almost brought him back to beat USC, and in 2011.
Oh yeah.
And then was always kind of bad. They could never decide what kind of offense they were going to run. They had Marquise, who was kind of this Michael Vick-esque guy.
Yeah.
And then Max is just a big, tall, cannon-armed ginger who's a drop. So you're either going to play regular football or you're going to play this new football.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't figure it out. And then they took a red shirt off a kid that because they needed him, but they had promised his dad that if they took his red shirt off, that he would start.
Oh boy!
And so Max was like, "Well, that's good for you guys. I'm out."
Yeah.
And so did just that, and I think it's going to be good for him.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna shine in D2, and hopefully get picked up. I mean, look at Jerry Rice. That dude played for Appalachian State.
The Gophers.
Yeah, and
it is the Gophers.
But it is and I think you guys have a chance to rebuild your team. We'll see.
The guy, the Marquise Gray you're referring to, I think just signed with like the practice squad of the Cleveland Browns or something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is,
as a tight end.
Yeah, you have to be really good to be that kind of quarterback, and even the really good ones like the Michael Vicks or the other ones. It's iffy. It's iffy at best.
Yeah. Do you do fantasy football?
I do not.
No.
And it's only because I have enough reasons to get angry at the television. I don't need enough. And you know what?
You don't need money involved?
I would be way into it. It comes down to usually the draft day is the last day that I need the draft day to be on.
Yeah.
And they would call like drafts today, and I'm just like, I'm out. Because it's my only day in town, and the last thing I want to do is sit at your smelly ass party. Because none of my friends can afford the meals.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, you just show up, and it's just some weed and a couple of shitty beers and 4 hours of that. And I'm just like, I can't deal with that.
It was pretty nice. My buddy even has a new house this year. So he's hosting at his new house.
So you're like doing the league-esque, like fantasy football, like rich guy leagues.
Well...
At least
I don't
a couple
know about
of rich guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, successful guys.
Yes. People with jobs.
Yeah. I don't have that as much. I have a lot of struggling comics.
I still have those friends. I just don't play fantasy football with them.
Yeah, those are the only ones that are asking me to do it. All my producer friends are like, "No, you can't afford our league." And I'm like, "You're probably right."
So in California, I assume you have your card to go into the store, the dispensaries and whatnot?
I do have my medical marijuana card.
Yes.
It's and I just got it renewed, as a matter of fact.
Once a year?
Once a year you have to have it renewed.
Fee? There's a fee involved?
Yeah, about $35-$40.
So barely worth it.
Well, and it's gone, I remember the first time I got a card, it was $150, and you went to like a legitimate doctor's office, and now it's like you go into a strip mall and pay $45 and it's done. And luckily I've been going to the same strip mall for a few years now, so it's pretty comfortable. It's pretty casual the whole day. I walk in and he's like, "Is it still working?" I'm like, "Yes." And he's like, "Try yoga," and he signs it.
Oh, is yoga a strain of pot that I haven't heard of?
No, they just have to, I think they need to suggest other, they don't want to just have you smoking weed all the time.
Yeah.
But that's about to go away. California almost legalized it, and then the feds came in with the big scare campaign, and basically said, if you guys legalize it, we're going to come in there all the time. And so, it lost by 8% because of that. And then now that Washington and Colorado have done it, and nothing's happening, and the government's saying we're going to leave you alone, I think they're going to start going down like dominoes.
Closing down the shops?
No, it'll start becoming legal.
Yeah.
It'll be like full on. You won't need a doctor's thing.
Nothing.
And,
think so?
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I know it's going to be just a matter of time for the West Coast and probably Minnesota and the more progressive states. But of course, my home state of Kansas and all. And
how are the laws there?
Pretty strict.
Yeah.
You don't want to get busted with it. That's for sure. I mean, it's not like Arizona where you're immediately going to go to jail or some shit. But
do you tour Arizona?
Well, I do. Yeah. I do once a year, and it's a scary weekend. Which is weird because Arizona, I mean, it's pretty easy to find whatever you want. It's just you don't want to get caught with it.
Yeah.
And that just comes back to old people. I mean, it's old people and young people in Phoenix. So,
yeah.
And the old people vote, and the young people don't.
Do you do the delivery thing where they come right to your house?
No, I don't need anyone to know where I live. And there's been a couple of guys that have. Because you do like pot shows and stuff like that, and you definitely have people come up to you and like, we'll bring it to your place. And no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, pot already makes me not leave the apartment a lot. I don't need it to just show up. Because they also have like 14 grocery delivery companies in LA. So like you could really just not leave your house if you wanted to. You could just have everything brought to you.
Yeah.
And I don't need that, because if I got stuck in that lifestyle, I would become diabetic and like 400 pounds. And I just don't want that.
No one should dare you to do that.
No, don't dare me, because I'll do it. Especially now that everything's on demand and everything. Like, you don't even have to leave your house to buy video games anymore.
Oh, hell, I know, no shit.
You just have to wait a week.
Yeah. Isn't that... Oh, my God.
It's amazing.
Yeah. To be a kid now... Oh...
Go fuck yourself, kids.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, not only with the video games and all that stuff, but the wireless internet and the incredibly fast internet. I mean, when we were kids and we wanted to watch pornography, it took us 15 minutes to down a JPEG, to download a GIF that was just a chick naked. It was just a still picture.
A still picture.
Or maybe you might get the 8-frame loop of like a girl with a Coke bottle in her V's or some shit.
Yes.
Remember that?
I do.
And it was just 8 frames in a loop, and it was like just a terrible. It was basically a digital version of the vaudeville flip books. Is all it was.
It was stop animation or whatever.
Absolutely. And it would take all day to download that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you'd have to be plugged into a phone line. Your mom would be like, hang up the phone, or get off the internet. I got to call somebody, or
I'm expecting a call,
or God forbid, call waiting beeped in, and you're just like, no,
I just want to see
star 70, son of a bitch.
I was almost getting nip.
Yeah, I was almost there, and bulletin boards and America Online, and now they're just like, I have literally any fetish at my fingertips, and I can bring the TV into the garage and still watch cable.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you don't. First off, I remember watching my dad and 4 of his friends carry our first big screen down the stairs, and the thing weighed like 4,000 pounds, had like 2 giant ass mirrors in it, was made of oak, and just watching 4 men. Just like, it was like you kind of got the idea of what it was like to build the pyramids for a second, like that one giant rock. And now it's like, I bought a 55-inch television, and the thing, like, I just picked it up.
Yeah.
And set it there. And it's
ridiculous.
And then I moved my next, like, the guy showed up to move the TV I had, and he was like, oh, and I was like, no, the thing weighs like 100 pounds. It's super light. And it's like, holy shit. Yeah. It's like, they have no idea. And then they're just telling me how fucking shitty their life is. I want to kick them in the balls.
I bought my daughter, both of them have bikes that I bought like at one at a garage sale, another one at a thrift store.
Yeah.
I think total I spent $9 on 2 bikes.
Nice.
They're little girls, I mean, this... Yeah. I think it's totally reasonable to do that. And but the one bike had some really shitty tires. Like whoever owned it previously wore the crap out of them.
Yeah.
So I went and I bought some brand new ones. So now I've put $30 into a $4 bike. And my daughter, she was over yesterday, and I was like, sweetie, I'm like, hey, I told you, I'm like, let's go out in the back. You can see the new tires I put on your bike. She walks out and goes, I don't like white.
Oh. The tires are white or the bike's white?
The tires are white. She didn't like her tires because they're white. I was so proud of myself for going out to buy these new, or now they're not worn out anymore.
Yeah. And she just
makes the bike look kind of new.
Yeah.
I don't like white.
You know what my parents would have told me? Go fuck yourself. Get on the bike.
Yeah.
You learn to like white. I bought you. Oh, well, where are the tires you bought? Oh, did you have some black tires that you'd rather have?
Well, that's the thing. And she didn't realize that the tires that I had taken off of there that were basically, rubbed to flatness, they were white at one point, but were worn down and old and cracked and faded. Little
kids, you're so stupid.
Yeah, go ahead. Here, I'll go get you the little tool. You put them back on. Yeah,
but at least you're like, whatever. I just hate because that's what parenting is. It's kind of telling your kid you're a dick sometimes. And
the nicest way to tell someone you're a dick.
Yeah, my parents would do that. I'd be like, I don't like white. Well, fuck you. I bought those. Ride them.
That's right.
Those are brand new tires. Learn.
Damn it.
I'll tell you what, when you get a job and you afford tires, you can go buy whatever tires you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I remember getting that speech all the time.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't what I wanted. Well, when you get a job and you work, you can buy whatever the fuck you want. Which kind of led me into a bad place, because then when I got money, I just spent it on everything I ever wanted, kind of as a fuck you to my parents.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, I bought socks. Why? Because I wanted them. And you spent $14 on socks. Yeah.
Guess what? I'm still blowing money on baseball cards.
Yeah. And even now, I'm like, the funniest thing was when my mom bought me my Sega Genesis and I was 16. She goes, I don't know why I'm buying this for you. You're going to outgrow it in 6 months. I'm 34 and I could not wait for the new Xbox to come out.
No shit, right?
So, and I bring that up to her all the time. It's like, remember when you bought? Shut up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I think that next PlayStation comes out like before my next birthday, and I've already been dropping that hint to anyone that
No,
listen.
I think it all drops like my birthday's November 27th.
Wait.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Are you kidding me?
No. Me, you, Josh Blue's birthday is November 27th. He and I were actually born on the exact same day.
Really?
1978.
Okay.
But unfortunately, he was born in South Africa, and I was born in America.
Yeah. Which
makes me American.
Damn right.
And
get out of here. I know some of the names.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
I think those are the only ones I know.
Bruce Lee.
Amelia Earhart?
Could be. And Urkel.
Jaleel White.
Yep.
I never got to hang out with Jaleel. I hung out with Dustin Diamond a few times. Screech.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Walker opened for me at the Borgata once.
Yeah.
And at the Borgata, it's like a 3-man show. And the one guy brings up the next guy and then brings up the next guy. So I looked at the other guy. I was like, he didn't really ask me for my intro. I don't know if he knows he's introing me. And they're like, okay. So we were all kind of waiting. And so he just starts into this intro. And it was a great intro. It was absolutely false. And he was like, this next comic, he's top 10 on Sirius XM. He worked 50 weeks last year, and the only 2 weeks he had off, he spent entertaining the troops in Afghanistan. And I'm like, so I go out and do the show. And then afterwards, I went up to Jimmy Walker. I'm like, hey, man, I have an intro if you want. He's like, no. He's like, this intro is great. I go, okay, well, can you not say that I went to Afghanistan? Because I didn't, and I feel really uncomfortable that you say that I did.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, but you will. I'm like, no, I have no intentions of going to Afghanistan to tell jokes. I know a lot of comics do that.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to be one of them. Only because I travel so much that on the few weeks that I do have off, the last thing I want to do is get on a plane for 18 hours to a war zone. And I will support I'll Skype the shit out of them. And I went to Cuba. I did that. I went to Guantanamo Bay.
Oh, wow.
Not quite the dangerous place of Afghanistan. Anyway, so I told Jimmy Walker, and I was just like, please do not say that. And he would just say it. And I realized he just doesn't He doesn't have the capacity in his brain to alter things.
No,
like he's just going to say what he's going to say, and he's not going to edit it at all. And it was just like, and so every night it was this huge introduction, and I'd walk out, and I just felt like the biggest piece of shit. I just felt like so fake.
You got veterans coming up after the show.
Just
Thanks,
like,
man.
Thanks for entertaining the troops. It didn't happen. Except for the ones that were in Gitmo watching the prisoners. I helped them out.
Oh, man.
But that was a 90-minute flight from Miami. I can do that. That's no big deal. I'm not flying into flak.
Oh, that is fucking funny. JJ, hey, when your name is searched, the name Tommy Chong comes up as well.
I just did a special with him.
Yeah?
On Showtime called Tommy Chong and Friends, or Tommy Chong Comedy at 420 or something. Yeah. And it was I love Tommy. I definitely am very involved in the marijuana lifestyle. I just don't tell a lot of jokes about it.
Yeah.
It's just, I think because it's such a part of my life, it's like for the same reason I don't tell jokes about breathing or drinking water or eating. It's just kind of understood that I do all those things.
Yeah.
So I don't really tell a lot of jokes about pot. And so when they kept asking me to be on, I'm like, I don't do pot jokes. Like I wear a bell bottom. It's obvious I'm involved. I don't. And so finally Showtime was just like, you don't have to do pot jokes. Just please be on the show. And I was like, cool. I mean, anytime you get to be on television is a thing. And it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. I mean, as far as filming television. And it wasn't their fault. Tommy was deathly ill the day we shot it. I brought a girl with me who I'd had a crush on, and who on the drive there had made herself the most unattractive woman on the planet. And wouldn't stop talking on top of that. So it was just a lot. I was not in a good place.
Oh, no.
And then they, Tommy's got like pneumonia or something, and he's deathly ill. And Tommy gets sick in the middle of a set and walks off stage. And the director, for some reason, decides to tell the audience. He could have told them anything. Like, Tommy's too stoned. Tommy has to go lay down. He's just fucked up.
Yeah, right.
No, he walks out there and goes, Tommy's going to the hospital. He's very sick.
And then you had to go out and perform?
People left. Everyone leaves. Like 100 people get up and leave. Now, bear in mind, all these people had also watched Jay Moore's hour specials get taped and Ian Baggs' hour special get taped. So they're done. They've just basically watched the Titanic of comedy. No, I'm not saying that they're terrible, but just like it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
Fucking. So, yeah, he's like, Tommy Chong's in the hospital. Well, people are like, well, I'm done. I'm leaving.
Oh, no.
And I see the director. He's on stage going, no, don't leave. We have more comics. And they're like, we don't give a fuck.
Oh, no.
Guess who's next? Me.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And that's pretty much how by the time they got everyone in place, they just went, ladies and gentlemen, here's your next comic, Chris Porter.
Here with introduction is Jimmy Walker.
Right? And I went out in the first 5 minutes, no one said a thing. No one It wasn't like I was eating shit. Like, they were paying attention. They just weren't like, they're just like, And then 5 minutes into it, I kind of got them on my side. And then by the end of the set, it worked out. But if you watch the special, I'm only on there for like 6-7 minutes. And it's because the first 5 was fucking terrible.
Oh, no.
And we didn't think it was ever going to see the light of day. We just thought, poor Showtime, they ate a couple $100,000 on this thing.
Were there other people that went up after you?
Poor Eddie Ift had to go up after me. And next thing you know, it's a year and a half later, we get a phone call like, hey, we need you to come to Tommy Chong's house and shoot some B-reel stuff so we can cover up for the terribleness that was the shoot itself. Because I wasn't the only one that had an issue. I think the second guy, Jay Phillips, like the mic went out on him for like 8 minutes. Like, it was just, and he didn't know because it worked in the monitor, whatever. So, and then it came out, and they actually did really well with it. I was pretty happy with what they did, and we just filmed a lot of stuff of us just hanging out at Tommy's house.
What's that like? Hanging
out at Tommy's house?
Yeah.
Like hanging out at your your uncle who used to be cool, but then he married someone that kind of made him not be cool anymore, and you have to deal with it. Like, Shelby's a sweetheart, but she's just she's trying to keep her husband alive and doesn't want him to smoke a lot of reefer, and probably doesn't like a lot of his, like, she wasn't there for the B-reel. She was there for the other shoot, but
he's still smoking, right?
not as much. It seems like he took 2 puffs off of one of our joints, was like done.
Yeah.
And I worked with Tommy 12 years ago, and he was puffing pretty hard. And but yeah, I mean, you spend 11 months in jail. That kind of ruins your tolerance, I think.
Yeah.
So, I know when I don't smoke for a day, and then I smoke a little bit, you're just like, whoa. So I can imagine what 8 months in a hokey is going to do.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I got a chance to meet him and Cheech. They were both in town a few years ago.
Yeah, they got back together and did it.
Yeah.
Which was, good for both of them. More for Chaw. I mean, Cheech is making his Nash money, whatever.
Nash money.
What's that show with Don Johnson? Something Nash.
Nash Bridges.
Nash Bridges. He's making that.
Never
Nash
seen it, but
yeah, but Cheech is in it, and that was funny. Nash Bridges. But fuck, man, that's good money. Being on terrible TV is good money. Mm-hmm. Ask anybody.
When's your terrible TV show?
I don't know. I'm looking for it. I'll row a boat for kids on some Nickelodeon show. I really don't care. I'll be that guy. I'll be, just short of Screech at this point.
Screech would be just short of Screech if he could.
Oh, that boy's fucked up in the face. He's just not his sense of reality is not correct.
Yeah.
And I mean that's kind of a byproduct of living that child star life, and there's still a lot of really hot girls that would fuck Screech and will, and that kind of stokes that fire.
As long as there's one.
Well, yeah, and then I mean, look, when he was on that show, that Fit show, and he was just a complete asshole.
I did watch that.
Like,
Celebrity
that's
Fit
not
Club.
really, like, that was just him trying to be
stand out
and be, and trying to make a name for himself as something the complete opposite of what America knew him as.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, this kind of pretentious douchebag asshole who kind of, I mean, for what he did tell it like it was in his face. Like, and he did say some things where, like, yeah, that's kind of true. You probably shouldn't have said that. But, yeah, I mean, you absolutely are right. But you're still a fucking giant douche.
Hey, I know we got to wrap this up here. We're taking up a lot of time here. Yeah. But I do. Did you see this story? I love this one. I'll just read you the headline, see if you heard it. Marijuana grower killed and nearly decapitated by booby trap he set to protect plants. Did you see this?
No.
This is like... Well, I printed this out today. It was from today. Did we do it from today or yesterday? In any case, yeah. Dude growing pot killed himself with a booby trap he'd set.
Where was this?
It was in, he says he drunkenly drove his quad bike, so like a four-wheeler, into barely visible thin piano wire strung up around his plantation in Albany County.
That here in Minneapolis?
No. The 50-year-old was thrown from his Honda, his head almost entirely severed from his body. Hikers spotted his lifeless corpse and called cops. Police also found barbed wire and a leg trap used to catch coyotes surrounding the 4 large plants. Four plants? What? I had never got to that part of the story when I read it earlier.
Someone really wanted his own... Yeah, I mean, that was just a crazy, conspiracy theorist kind of guy. That's probably like, they're after my 4 plants.
Once they get into the barn he lives in, there's probably a bunch more booby traps.
Yeah, and a lot of American flags. And
there was one more here I wanted to show you. Where the hell did that go? There was a guy. I have it here. Anyway, fucking A. Where is that now? While I'm looking for this, where can people find you on Twitter?
I am Chris Porter. Is my tweets. My website's chrisporterisfunny.com, and that's really it. Really,
you have one CD.
One there? CD currently. The second one's in the editing phase.
It is.
Yes.
Where was that recorded?
At the Folly Theater in Kansas City.
Okay.
And
The hometown crowd.
Hometown crowd.
Sweet.
And I looked at cover options yesterday. So
With Dan. Are you working with Dan on that?
I am not working with Dan on this particular one. Dan has my first album.
Oh, right on.
And I would have loved to work. Dan's a very good friend. I love him to death. But
Dan Schlissel.
Dan Schlissel.
Stand-up record.
He and I, this company, New Wave, has a little more money and a little more opportunity. They have a little more of a relationship with the networks and stuff like that. So, we're really trying to get this special onto television.
Oh, right on.
And so, I'm thinking hopefully, depending on how it works out, I think I might hopefully we'll get the vinyl records to be on stand-up records.
Oh, very cool.
That's really a decision that's not completely up to me.
Oh, okay. I can't find the thing I was going to, but I'll just try to describe it to you. There was another person that was pulled over. In the picture I wanted to show you, have you ever, I'm sure you've done it, probably when you left for college, you pack everything you possibly can into your car.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's you can't see out the back.
Yeah,
because it's just absolutely stuffed. Even in the passenger seat next to you.
Did that way on the way out to Los Angeles.
Yeah. This guy gets pulled over. And I don't remember how he got pulled over, but he was doing something stupid.
Yeah.
But his car was full, not of his laundry and his lamp and his vacuum cleaner, pot plants.
Really?
Yes.
Just driving around.
Plants. On the seat, on the floor, 4 of them in the back seat, on the floor in the back seat.
And he got pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt.
Or something like that, or a signal or something.
Yeah.
Donuts.
It's fucking idiots. But listen, the people that get busted 98% of the time aren't very good at it.
Yeah.
The people that are really good at it, you never hear about.
Right.
Until their American Gangster movie comes out. And you're like, oh, that dude did blue magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't... I know a guy in Kansas City who's been dealing for 14 years, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
It's just he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
And then you get the idiots who get cocky and lazy and decide to throw pot plants in their car and just drive around and not use their turn signal.
I'm going to find that. I'm going to send it to you
on
Twitter. You're going to love this. The picture's fantastic.
What a lot of people don't understand is that the stupid kids in high school don't get any smarter after high school. They're still dumb. Mm-hmm. They're just in life now. Now they have now they're making real decisions. And they're going to affect you. People just think once you get out of high school, after graduation, you just learn everything. And it's no, it's just some doctors are terrible because they barely graduated. There are some doctors that just barely made it.
Yeah.
And fuck, you don't know that.
No.
You don't. They should post their scores as you walk in. An
extra letter in PhD. Or lowercase or something.
It's more of a PFD, or a PDD, but still. So it's just you have to kind of take that into consideration. The idiots are still idiots, but now they have real jobs and loans and shit.
Cars full of pot.
And cars full of pot.
2 final questions, Chris Porter. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for that. That's not a question, but I appreciate it.
Okay, yep. That was not a question. That doesn't count. First question, who is your favorite Royal all time?
Well, I guess George Brett. You kind of have to give it to him, don't you?
Okay, this question doesn't count. That if it wasn't George Brett,
I can't say that. It's Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson,
of course.
Yeah,
I don't even. It's hard to put him in, because his number's not out in the outfield like it should be. But
16.
Yeah, and Billy Butler has it now, and it's but yeah, Bo Jackson always. Is my favorite Royal.
I love Bo. How about Steve Balboni?
Third favorite Royal.
Yeah.
It's Jackson, Brett, Balboni.
Fair enough.
You got to have Balboni in there. He looked like he could fix your sink.
Damn right.
Yeah, he looked like, I'm going to play first. Then when I'm done, I'm going to take a look at your garbage disposal, see if we can't get that running right.
Stay put. I'm going to take care of that.
Yeah.
Final question. You're an LA guy. I've been asking people this question to end the show. Have you ever been fondled or molested by Andy Dick?
No, I have not. I don't think I've even been in the same room as Andy Dick.
Well, that's why it hasn't happened.
Yeah. I don't tend to hang out a lot of places. I go to the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory, and I do my spots, and then I get the fuck out. I'm just not. the LA scene is fun for about 4 years, and then you're just like, I'm going to use it for what I need it for, and then I'm going to leave because it's full of some of the most miserable, cynical people on the planet. And the reason they're miserable and cynical is because they've not left the comedy scene for 7 years, and they're just like, well, I hate everyone. And you're like, well, it's because you're around a lot of people that you should hate. And so
you're like, I know what you mean, but don't hate yourself.
Yeah, so now I have friends outside of the comedy world. Like, I have a real life outside of the world.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that.
No,
so.
I see what you're saying. You know, the Kansas, you got the music.
Yeah, and like, you know, and I've made friends, again, outside of this comedy world. And when you do that, when you're around people where you don't have to talk about where were you last week and what's that guy like and this and this and this, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like having like an air conditioner that's half broken and it's going, but you don't. Your brain kind of blocks it out,
right.
but yet you're still miserable and anxious all the time. And then finally someone turns it off, and you're like, "Oh, that was the problem."
yeah.
That's what the comedy scene's like. It's great but when it's always on, you're just like, I can't. I don't know why I'm fucking angry, but I hate it. And then when you get out of the comedy scene for like you go home or you go to a rock show or something, you're just like, I can breathe again.
Yeah.
And it's because you find, and it doesn't matter if it's comedy or accounting or anything, you can't constantly surround yourself with anything or you'll suffocate. And so that's why I don't hang out. And that's why I haven't been fondled by Andy Dick. But I also wasn't there the night Chappelle showed up and hung out with everybody and took him out to dinner.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so I miss a few things, but at the same time, I miss a lot of shit that I don't want anything to do with.
Yeah. Keeps you out of trouble, I bet.
And when you show up, people are like, I haven't seen you in forever. It's great to see you. Not I fucking saw you yesterday and you're still wearing the same shirt.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right on.
No, I haven't been followed by Andy Dick.
Yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
This
but
has
I
been
had
fun.
a blast. Anytime.
Flew by. We'll hopefully do it again when you come back.
Sounds great.